Next game, another one with massive playoff implications, the Texans against the Colts. CJ Stroud, if the whole national NFL audience wasn't blown away by this guy yet, he certainly solidified that the other night, Jay. I mean, 20 and 26, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, and it was really only Nico Collins out there. That's what made this so impressive.
Yeah, legacy game for Stroud, kind of like a superhero origin story type of game, honestly, with the throws that he made. Well, the throw to start the game and then all the throws that he made on that final drive, just as good as you could imagine. And the fact that he did this, to your point, without Tank Dell, without Noah Brown, with an offensive coordinator who was obsessed with running the ball for 3 yards a carry, the fact that he was able to overcome everything and give the performance that he did, I mean, I think that effectively locks up Offensive Rookie of the Year for CJ Stroud, and I think he would be a very worthy winner despite Puka Nakua's awesome season. And I mean, he was majestic. The Colts had no answer for him.
Do we get a double up here? Do we get, we know we'll get CJ Stroud as Rookie of the Year, but do we double up on the coach there with DeMeco Ryans? Because we saw those odds change drastically after the Texans clinched that playoff spot.
Yeah, so as we went into the 1 p.m. slate yesterday, that market was minus 115 Ryans, minus 115 Stefanski, and then Houston clinched the division later that day. And I think that just the Texans story and the fact that they went from 3 wins to 10 in the division. It's the first division title, I believe, ever for a rookie quarterback and head coach combination. They'd won 11 games in the 3 years combined prior. And as good as Kevin Stefanski's story is, I think that Ryans' story will resonate a bit more. And so I would make Ryans the favorite there. I don't think it's a lock, but I think he will win. And then Will Anderson as well could win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he is in a 3-way coin flip, frankly, with Jalen Carter and Kobe Turner from the Rams. So an incredible season from Houston, who I think in a way are the story of the season.
Yeah, it's interesting. Last year we had Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson teammates win those awards. This year with the Texans very well could. And we could see them win Executive of the Year, Coach of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Lawrence, this is what stands out to me with Stroud. 6 games with 20-plus fantasy points this season. All the other rookie quarterbacks in this class combined for 6 games with that. And think of how many guys had to play. I mean, Will Levis, Aiden O'Connell, obviously Bryce right out of the gate. Looking into next year, Tank Dell will be back. We're assuming Nico Collins is here for the long term. Bobby Sloak has proven himself as a play caller. How do we evaluate C.J. Stroud in fantasy? Because the ceiling is, I mean, you're looking at Joe Burrow, literally ceiling.
Yeah, and I think, we said the same things about Jordan Love, about him being like a top 12 quarterback. Well, the answer to that will be yes. Why? Because he's actually proven that on the stat sheet, on the fantasy point sheet, he's a quarterback one. We saw what the team was without him for those first few games. C.J. Stroud was a fantasy asset the moment he hit the field, week 1. It just took us a while to, because, it's a rookie quarterback. Like, hey, let's see if he can keep doing it. Well, not only did he keep doing it, he made Nico Collins fantasy relevant, Tank Dell fantasy relevant, Dalton Schultz had some games. Devin Singletary had his best games of his career with the Houston Texans, and he played with Josh Allen for 3 years. So, yeah, when you look at it from that perspective, once you draft all the top-tier fantasy quarterbacks who can give it to you through the air on the ground, Hurts, Allen, Lamar, then you start looking at guys like a C.J. Stroud or Jordan Love.
The other note from this game, Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown, Jay. But maybe the biggest storyline is that he wasn't on the field when it all came down to one play.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was, given the circumstances, the best game of his career. And he's a guy who went for 200 yards and 5 touchdowns against the Bills a couple years ago. He was magnificent in this game, and he's the reason they had a chance. For the final play, we need to stop criticizing Shane Steichen at all for that play. The play worked. It was a perfect play. It was a cover 0 run blitz. They weren't going to be able to get it up the middle most likely. And I don't think Jonathan Taylor, with his health, could have run out there in the flat and turned around. Like, he was on one leg. And so I think it was the perfect play call. It was just a bad throw, and they didn't make the connection.
Yeah, I'm completely with you, Jay. Okay, so our next game here, the Giants kind of destroy the Eagles in a game that it just feels like right now, Jay, everything is going wrong for the Eagles on the field and the injuries that are going to impact them always going into the next game.
Yeah, looking at Penn State Blake off camera, the world's biggest Eagles fan. He just took a big sip of water as we moved to the Eagles.
He's got the
segment.
Flyers.
Yeah,
on the hockey.
I mean, it's bizarre. I can't remember a collapse of a team that was. I mean, they were 10-1. They were effectively the Super Bowl favorites. Jalen Hurts was the MVP favorite. This is a team we were wondering, are they going to go 15-2? They're going to go 14-3. Now all of a sudden they're a 5 seed traveling to Tampa Bay and are a real chance to lose that game. Less than a field goal favorite. So I guess like the defense has struggled all season, particularly in pass defense, but to me it's the offense that's the concern, where now they're super banged up. A.J. Brown leads the game with an injury. Devontae Smith is banged up too. Jalen Hurts, no fracture in his finger, but also expect he's not going to probably be 100%. And now they go from being the team that was a heavy favorite to get the bye to a team that's probably going to have to win 3 road games just to get to the Super Bowl.
I'll be impressed if they just simply win the game versus Tampa Bay. Whereas if they're playing Tampa Bay in week 12, it's not an impressive win. I would be impressed just to see them go on the road, win this game. Hurts did have the hurt hand, but he came back in after that. I think it was just more so like the Eagles realized, like, hey, we throwing in the white flag. We down 24-0. He had just thrown the pick to Xavier McKinney. So let's get our guy, because then they start giving the ball to Boston Scott too. We saw Quez Watkins. So they got a lot of their starters out of there because the Giants was just whooping on them.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The Eagles will be a fascinating team going into the playoffs, and keep an eye on their injury status. As Jay hinted at, the X-ray is negative on Hurts' finger, but A.J. Brown, obviously somebody we're watching throughout the week.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.